Hi everyone, and welcome to Baking with Laurie. Happy Nurses Week everyone 2024. So today myself and Laurie Upshaw, Labour Relations Officer and Registered Nurse. Laurie is going to share with me her mom's recipe for tea buns. And anybody who knows Yvette doesn't spend a lot of time in the kitchen. I make a good Jig's dinner. I can make a cake if I get my mind into it. But other than that, I leave the cooking to my partner at home. So I'm going to let Laurie tell us the history behind her mom's tea bun recipe as we're going along. But Laurie's going to take over now and do the instructing.
Okay. Hi everybody, and Happy Nurses Week. This is a recipe that my mom came up with by herself, and it's very specific to her. She's made it for many church functions in Deer Lake and has been sharing it with everybody for a number of years. When I initially, got this recipe, I was struggling with how sweet it was, and anyways, I kept tapping off the amount of sugar that I had, and this last summer I was home and I saw another copy of the recipe for Marjorie's tea buns.
And when you say tapping off the sugar, you mean reducing
so
the
I
amount of
was
sugar
taking
you were
my cup
using?
and I would like shake a bit back in and tried that over and over again. But anyways, this summer I was home and noticed a copy of the recipe on the counter, and I said, "Mom," I said, "there's no sugar here in this recipe." She said, "No, I don't put any sugar in it." And I said, "Well, the recipe I have has sugar." So I said, "That explains why I'm having trouble." She said, "Well, I didn't mean to put it there." So, as an inside sort of thing, my sisters and I often kid Mom that, she doesn't share all the exact ingredients because we can never get it to taste just like Mom's. But anyways, I'm sure this was an innocent mistake, but we did tease her a little bit more. So anyways, without further ado, we're going to get started. And as you can see here, our ingredients are here on the counter. There's flour and vanilla pudding. There's an egg in here. There's butter. There's baking powder, mandarin oranges, vanilla, and raisins. And I think I said milk.
Jello.
I said the jello. Yeah. Okay. And so we'll start off first. We're going to put our flour. We've got 3 cups of flour. So we're going to put this into our bowl.
I'm good at following directions.
Okay. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our vanilla pudding and we're going to put it into our bowl.
Oh, right, vanilla pudding. Gotcha.
I'm just going to empty that in there. And that's your sugar. And a little extra flavor.
Interesting. So you get a vanilla flavor out of the tea buns.
Tea buns, yeah. Okay, and the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put in our baking powder. So there's 4 teaspoons of baking powder in here. So most of you, when you measure, you're going to do level teaspoons of baking powder. But my mother's version of teaspoons for this particular recipe is more like
Heaping.
this. So that's the measuring teaspoon, and it's a very generous teaspoon. So just so that you're aware of that. Okay, so that's our dry ingredients. We're just going to mix these around a bit with the whisk here, so they're all together.
This I can do.
This is good. Okay, so before we put our butter in, what I'm going to do is we're going to get an egg, and we're going to crack it into your measuring cup down there.
You don't trust me to crack it outside?
Oh, you can crack it on the counter, wherever you want, whatever you normally do.
Just one?
Just one, yeah. And grab a paper towel. So now we got here's one for you to get the egg probably in hand. Okay, so we're just going to whisk that up a little bit.
Not as smooth as Laurie.
Okay, and we're going to pour our milk in there.
Oh. Hold on now, because that's messy.
Yep. Okay, that's fine. Okay.
There you
All right. And we're going to take our 1 teaspoon of
go.
vanilla.
So
Yeah, just throw your vanilla in there too. Get that in. Put the vanilla in. Okay. And you can just give that a little stir. All right.
But you didn't beat up your egg.
I did.
Oh, did you? Oh, I didn't.
I did. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do now is we're going to put our butter in. And this is a half of a block of butter, 1 cup. So you can use a pastry blender or you can use a knife, whatever you have. So I just cut this up ahead of time and there we go. So you can just start to stir that around. Just to get it all coated with flour.
Just so you can see what we're doing. We're just coating the flour apparently.
Yeah. Now you kind of got to get your hands into it. So it's good to have clean hands and no rings. So I just kind of try to rub it in. We're rubbing it in, yeah.
This is harder for people short.
Short? What'd you say?
Short like me.
I got the lower bowl for you.
You try. People don't realize, as myself and Laurie worked together back in the 90s in the ICU at the Health Science. That was long before the days when we had 3 separate intensive care units.
Yep.
All cardiac surgeries, neurosurgery, traumas, everything came to the Health Science, and we had some good days.
We did.
That's when nursing was much happier, when we were able to take time to spend with patients and their families. We were able to have a joke and a laugh at work. All things that help you get through a really tough shift. And you know, some sad moments that we experienced with patients and families throughout the years. And how, like most nurses, we have I don't call it a dry sense of humor, but we have a different sense of
humor. Get you through those dark days.
To get you through those dark days. Yeah. But we really enjoyed working together. Yeah. And now here we are again.
We're working together again. And we didn't picture ourselves cooking T-buns together this many years later.
Not in a million years. No.
Okay, so now.
Yours looks softer than mine. I didn't do enough. Well, hang on.
Yeah.
Laurie might have to improvise here on this one.
I used to use a pastry blender, but after having probably 2 or 3 of them, I think I'm probably a little bit too aggressive with them because I bend them out. Maybe that's the nature of pastry blenders, but I usually, so I don't bother anymore. I just use my hands.
So you don't melt the butter?
Nope.
Doesn't cough. I would have thought you just threw it in the microwave and melted it.
No.
Is there a rationale behind that?
I have to ask my mother.
Yeah, that's me.
Okay, so now the next thing we're going to do
Is that good?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
No, it's not pretty good. She's at it. See that? I'm trying.
Yeah, that's good. That's
Okay.
fine. Yeah. That'll all.
So my buns will be the lumpy ones by the sounds of it.
No, they're going to be good. I know they will. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to add our raisins. And you don't, this is kind of optional. Some people don't like raisins. And I had some boys in this house that would pick you to have a little mound of raisins at the on the end of their plate when they were done their T-bone.
Yeah, I kind of live with people like that as well.
Yeah. Crush your raisins, you can stir those in.
Oh. And for those of you who are watching, this is actually my first time ever making T-bones.
Is it? Oh.
Even though I do have my mom's recipe at home, I have it engraved on a cutting board.
Well,
one of those ones you hang in
will
your kitchen.
inspire you to go make your mom's T-bones.
Yeah, maybe. Or I can just say, hey Lori, you making any buns this week?
Okay, so the next thing after the raisins is mandarin oranges. So I like to drain these well because they're pretty wet. So I've got a strainer over here, so I'm just gonna throw them in that and let them drain.
Want me to bring over the bowl?
Yeah, okay, that's probably good.
Yeah.
So that's those, and I'll put yours in there. All right, so we can stir those in now. They're all coated with flour. And I mean, I find the mandarin oranges kind of tend to get a little bit broken up, and so it doesn't matter if you use segments or you use the pieces. It'll all be good.
They'll just have the little pieces in it.
Yeah.
Gone. Right. It's a different flavor on them too.
Yeah.
That and the vanilla.
That vanilla pudding really makes a difference.
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, so the next thing that we're going to do is we're just going to throw in our wet stuff now. So we're going to pour that in. Stir around. Now, depending on your mandarin oranges, it might be super wet.
Yeah, they're moist.
So, yeah, you might, sometimes I'll throw a little bit of flour in before I take it out of the bowl, but if it's super wet,
I think mine might make.
yeah, so, yeah, I'm going to sprinkle a little bit. It all depends on the brand. I find they're all kind of different, so I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit more.
I think it's a
in there.
little bit wet, Nick.
Yeah, you can put a little bit more in there. And I mean, it's going to be a bit messy when you take it out anyway, but
Yes.
it's nice to have a little tiny bit.
It's like when you're making doughboys.
Yeah.
If they're too sticky, you put a bit of flour. I do make doughboys. So. It's a little too wet.
A bit wet. Yeah, it still might be okay once we get it on the counter.
Just a
to
little bit.
just put a little
There you
bit
go.
in. Because it's gonna be sticky in your hands anyway. It always is.
They're getting into it now.
Okay, so the next step, and I don't know if you want to, I'm going to take all this stuff out of your way so that you have lots of room.
And so I don't make too big a mess, you mean.
No, just so that when you,
That's exactly what I was saying.
this is all part of it, so I don't mind the mess. I'm just going to get that out of the way so you got room. Okay, so, is there anything wet on the counter over there?
Little
It's
bit.
all clean, but just make sure there's nothing wet that's going to stick on it. So, if you'd like, you can use a pastry sheet or you can use parchment paper if you want to put it on the counter to put your dough on. I don't use anything, I just have a clean counter. I find the parchment paper moves and I'm just like,
I don't try to run
I
making
just
bread.
throw the flour right on the counter and go with that. But it's all, personal preference. So whatever you want to do is okay. So I'm going to take some flour and I'm going to put it on the counter. What's that?
I will do.
Yeah. And then you're going to put your dough right on there. This is where it gets messy.
Yeah, might need assistance with this one. Mine's
Just try to
too
put it
wet.
all, yeah, we'll put a bunch of flour on top. We might need to get a bit more flour, but that's okay. Like that.
Still got a bit left in here. Hang on.
Well, you scrape it out more, so I can get a scraper if you need it.
Actually, this is what we're gonna do.
Yes.
We'll take what we need. There you go.
And I'll put a bunch of flour over top of mine, because I know it already
Yeah.
looks wet.
All right. Oh.
So in the two different recipes that I do have, one says to cut your T-buns to 2 inches and cook it for I think it is 18 minutes or something, and then 18 minutes, and then the other one says make them 1.5 inches and cook them for 15, something like that. Anyways, can't remember exactly, but we'll get the recipe to you. But what I'm trying to say is that whatever your preference is for cutting them and how thick you'd like to have them,
We're going to use a glass, right?
yep, it's up to you. And
That's
however
what Mom
big you
used
want
to
them. I mean, some people like to have a bigger bun, some people like smaller buns. So it's kind of, what I would just say is you cook them on 400 and cut them to however you like, and keep an eye on them first time you make them and determine how long they need to cook.
So you don't how with bread and you fold over and all that.
No,
You don't have to
because-
do with this.
no,
Because you don't
Because
want
it's not a yeast thing, right? It's just baking powder and eggs. so.
Right, okay.
Okay, I think that's better. I just got it kind of worked in there a little bit. I'm gonna put a little bit more flour on the counter because I know once I get
Here, give us a bit, put it. Little smidge.
there. Okay. Alrighty. So I've
It
got
doesn't matter how thick you have it when you're getting ready to separate it into the bones.
You mean when you're getting ready to cut it?
Like the way you have
So
it there.
I got it like this, but I'm gonna flatten it down more. Like you can.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, a little bit of flour here because it's a bit sticky there. I got it.
I'm getting closer to the edge of the counter. I'm going to move you.
If you want to use a rolling pin, you can. It's right there. Look. If you want to roll it over
I've
there.
never used a rolling pin. Do you just put flour on it and like?
Yeah, you just.
Or does it
won't
make it
stick
harder?
If you just do this, like, no, it doesn't. You just kind of gotta. Like that. That's all.
Oh, lightly.
Just lightly, because this is heavy. It'll. Yeah.
Oh, gee. She wasn't exaggerating when she said heavy.
Yeah.
Oh, look for edges. The edges are nice too.
So the thing that you want to try to do, right, is have a nice even T-bone. So look over here. You
I got to fix her in.
You got a little bit, yeah, thin on the edges. So sometimes you got to roll. You can roll it again, but just to make it kind of even, right?
Or don't.
Yeah. And like I said, you can make them thick or thin, however you like to.
Yeah, because there's no yeast. Right, they're not going to
Yeah.
rise. Gotcha.
Okay.
I think that looks
dirty
pretty good.
fingers here. Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah.
Who would
So
have thought?
there's, looks great, hey? Throw that in the oven and have a giant T-bone.
Oh, wouldn't that be nice? With some homemade raspberry jam
So
or
I'm
baked
gonna
apple
give you
jam.
one of these.
What was this?
And I'm going to put one here for me. And we're gonna put some parchment paper on the sheet. We don't need to grease it or anything like that.
No.
Probably good for there. Okay. I was pretty late in life when I discovered parchment
Dory's is
paper.
a
and it's
little
the
bit thinner
best
than
thing.
mine,
Yeah, but like, that's okay too.
but I'm going to have thick
You
bones.
can
But that
have-
means they'll take longer to cook.
Yeah, but
Bake.
it's okay. We can see what,
Okay, gotcha.
you know. So here's a couple of glasses. If you prefer, you can use a cookie cutter. But would you like a bigger glass, or
No,
are you
it's
good
good.
with that size?
That's
Okay.
nice and thick.
Sometimes you might find it gets sticky inside, but I usually just scrape it out and keep going. Okay, so we're gonna cut these. And try to go to the edge. And so there you go. That's my first one.
Voila.
There we go. Look,
It's
perfect. Okay.
And we're on a roll.
Yeah. I'm gonna keep on cutting. And you touch the buns off each other. On
Oh,
the pan. Yeah.
really?
That's the other thing you do.
I was going to separate them all.
Yeah. No, just barely touch.
And is there a purpose for that? A reason?
Well, it says so in the recipe.
It's a mom's recipe, says. Okay.
Yeah.
But
But you know,
so-
when they cook, they don't. You know,
So
they're
going
not gonna
across
be,
fine, but you still keep going?
You still keep going and touch them the whole way
Down too?
Yeah.
The rolls. Okay.
There we go.
It's starting to get a little sticky now.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, dear, it will be so good.
There it is. The batter just smells so good.
And yeah, the batter smells good, so I can't even imagine what the biscuits themselves are going to taste like. Oh boy. I can taste them now. Bit of butter, a cup of coffee.
And
Homemade
you
jam.
don't even need butter.
And homemade, well, just homemade
It's
jam.
homemade jam. Yeah.
My favorite is baked apple. How about you?
I love baked apple jam. everybody in the house doesn't like baked
No,
apple jam.
in my house either, which is good.
I think it's one of those things that you kind of have to acquire a taste for. I'll tell you another story about when I was first finished nursing school and living home. My great aunt and uncle invited mom and dad in for supper, and they said, "Oh, no, Lori can come along too."
Yeah.
So anyway, she was a fabulous cook, and she had actually worked at Strawberry Hill. For anybody that's from the West Coast, it used to be there, and that's where the Queen would stay when she would come for her visits. So she was like an excellent cook. So anyways, we go in for supper and, had a delicious meal, and then she had partridge berry pie for dessert.
Oh
I
my.
had not yet acquired a taste for partridge berry pie, but being polite, I said,
You need to acquire
"Sure,
taste for that.
I will have a
Yes.
piece of partridge berry pie." So Mom is looking at me knowing I do not like partridge berry pie. So I ate it with some ice cream. The ice cream really helped me. And I finished the pie, and she said, have another piece, she said.
Of course.
And I said, no. I said, I'm full. I can't have any more. Anyway, she insisted that I have another piece of pie. So I had another piece of partridge berry pie. And Mom kind of kicked me under the table as if
Eat it.
Yeah. So then after she said, "You should say if you don't like something." But anyway, that probably helped me acquire a taste for partridge berries too. But
My
anyways,
grandmother, one of my grandmothers, every time you went there, it was homemade rhubarb jam, homemade partridge berry, and it was so tart. Oh my goodness. I never acquired a taste for partridge berry. So then later in years, with a shout out to Purity,
Yeah.
Purity came out with the partridge berry apple jam.
Yes. Yeah.
And it takes that tardiness out of it, and it's one of my favorite jams to buy.
Yeah. Apple makes a big difference. Just a little bit.
That little bit of sweetness.
Yes, a little bit.
Yeah.
Takes that tartness away.
My tray's getting full.
Well, we can work with that.
I can put it in yours.
Well, we
Or-
can probably slide them over a little bit, maybe. What do you think?
She's making me move. There
We'll
you
see. We'll see. We can put them on mine too. It's fine. I just thought you might
go. I
want.
think I haven't. Yeah, another row. I can do that.
You can do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I got room.
So,
Starting to get worried there that time.
so once you get, them all cut out, you're going to end up with the pieces left. Make a few more. And it does get sticky.
Yeah, it's very sticky at the moment.
Yeah. But they're a very moist T-bone.
This is my way to get rid of stickiness. Your counter though.
But
Don't be covered.
it's been covered before.
I got no doubt. Oh, and we have to put a shout out to Lori to thank her for opening up her home to do this.
You're
It's
welcome.
beautiful. Nice big island for doing this on. And we're here in our slippers, just.
Yeah.
Now, how many can I get out of this one?
Yeah.
Lori's point. There.
That's good.
Oh my gosh. I'll have more yet. Oh. They're absolutely going to be good. So do you bake bread too, Lori?
I do.
I do, but I've never done it from, you do your own ingredients out of it. I've always used what used to be the bread and roll mix. I don't even think you can buy that anymore now.
You can, yeah.
There's one in a Deer Lake company has another.
There's another one. This brand flour has one, and
Oh,
you
okay.
can. I think you can buy stuff. The other stuff. I mean, you definitely buy that kind.
Now my daughter, she makes it from
And
scratch.
actually, my sister has a recipe that she does bread and roll mix from that she kind of makes more out of it and has some other ingredients she adds. So
Oh, okay.
I'll share that with you too.
I don't bake. My daughter did.
I use a KitchenAid too as well to kind of mix it up so far.
For your bread.
Yeah, I
Really?
do till I get to the final kind of eating part because it. I just find it really hard now stirring and wear and tear.
Yeah,
so-
I'm here thinking my
so,
shoulder,
yeah,
my
that's
shoulder
right.
is not going to be
So-
good after today.
Yeah.
Yeah, another one of those aches and pains you get from being in nursing for over 30 years.
Yep.
It's all worth it. So Lori, your career as a registered nurse, you've had a lot of experience.
Yep. I started out in Corner Brook. Started off actually working on Ghani back in 1985, and then I 85, yeah.
Look at her, she looks like
Don't
she
do
just
the math.
graduated.
Then I actually did the post-basic coronary care course out in Western, and then I went to work in ICU out there. And then I came in here, and I actually went to work first at Grace in
Yes.
ICU. And their ICU was ICU, CCU,
Everything.
everything.
Yeah.
And then I came over to the health science, and there I was only at Grace probably a year. And actually I was convinced by one of the girls that had worked at health science before. She was working at Grace and she was going, she said, "You need to come too. You'd love it," she said. So she convinced me.
Not bad.
No. Anyway, so I went over there, and then I ended up in Clarendon for just a year. Came back to ICU again.
Yes, I remember that.
And then not long after I had my first baby, I went to CCU, and I worked there for a number of years until I went out to Clarenville, and I worked emerged ICU out there, and then dialysis, and then dialysis
Did you want
back
to
in
be
here,
for another one?
and then I'm almost there. Day surgery after that.
And day surgery after
Day
that.
surgery, and
Yeah.
now I'm here. So, but met lots of great people along the way.
I just find that when I've had friends from the critical care, because I worked there for like 25 years. So all the people that came and went, and
I think when you're working, yeah, let's share it all together. Hey, let's see if we
did
can
this
make
on
one up
nights
on-
too, by the way. Well, not baking, but sharing our treats and everything.
Yeah, but I think CCU will always be
Yeah.
my favorite place to
I did think that. I still miss that. But then I went to work in cancer care for 5.5 years, where I thought, there's no way I can do this, right? And of course, you'd be having your spurts almost every day, crying, and
work. Yeah,
until a nurse that had worked there for a long time in cancer care just looked at me and she said, "Yvette, we can't change the journey, the end result, or the diagnosis. All we can do is make the journey the best it can be." And when you focus on that part of it,
yeah,
but coronary for me, it was that your patient is sitting up 1 minute doing fine, and the next, bang, you got a crash cart and everything. And if you're an adrenaline junkie like me, because you have to be to work critical care,
yeah.
I always say
Absolutely.
that, right?
Yeah,
That's where it was.
Yeah.
That's where things were happening.
yeah. Okay, we're gonna wash our hands and we're gonna throw the first tray in the oven. Okay, so now we're ready to put them in the oven. So I've preheated my oven to 400 degrees, and depending on the thickness, you're gonna have them in there from anywhere from probably 15 to 22 minutes, depending on how thick they are. So we're gonna put Yvette's in the oven first, and as I said, I looked at my the recipes, and
I think yours might be thicker. But
mine I think are a little thicker, but we'll put yours in first.
Okay.
And what we'll do is we can turn the timer on for 15 minutes, and that way we can check them in 15 minutes.
It doesn't
We-
matter. Just put them in.
Just put them in like that. Here you go. All right. So we'll set the timer for 15 minutes, and we're going to put the kettle on and get ready to have a cup of tea.
And one of our homemade buns.
Okay. There we go. Oh, they look good. What do you think?
They look great.
There we go.
Oh my God. So here we are with the finished product. And as you can see, with Lori's mother's recipe, you can teach anybody how to make tea buns, because she just taught me, and look how good they turned out. I'm going to thank Lori for being our host today in our home. Please continue to follow us this week for other events that are happening during Nursing Week 2024. And also these aprons. We actually got some of these for prize giveaways for Nursing Week, so stay tuned. Everybody's name will be going in the draw, every single person who's in our registered database. So for an opportunity to win one of RNU's aprons, we will be exploring having them at the shop on my RNU platform. So you can actually go in and buy them at a later date. And yeah, any last comments, Lori?
Nope, I'm anticipating that these are going to taste really great. Happy Nurses Week, everybody.
Happy Nurses Week.